The gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Palmer, is recognized for his questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank all the witnesses for being here. My daughter is finishing her graduate degree at Auburn University in speech pathology, and
Fabulous.
she had to have speech therapy when she was little, so I know how important this work is. Dr. Talal, we have a school, Spring Valley School in Birmingham, that specializes in teaching children with learning disabilities. And according to information from that school, individuals affected by dyslexia are often affected by other learning disabilities as well. Can you discuss the interaction of dyslexia and other disabilities and the challenge this presents for students and the teachers?
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point. Our brain is not divided easily into compartments. When you have a problem in one area, it often will cascade into other areas. When you have a problem with how the brain can efficiently process incoming sensory information, that is going to cascade in a number of ways into other functions, cognitive functions, linguistic functions that subsequently impact reading. So I think that is basically the finding, is that there's a tremendous overlap when you get right down to it, and great heterogeneity in children whose final common denominator is they cannot learn to read. But there are many sub-skills that could have led them there. Many of these children are diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, and at a scientific level, did you fail to pay attention because you couldn't process fast and efficiently? Or can you not fail to process fast and efficiently because you can't pay attention? So we do need to still understand that.
So
Many children are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. That is a language-based learning disability.
So when we talk about increasing funding for research on dyslexia, I think we need to also be talking about some overlap in the research in this area, how these other disabilities interact and follow that out.
The diagnosis you get often depends on just who you got sent to see.
Right.
Okay, if you got sent to see a psychiatrist, you're going to get one diagnosis. If you got sent to see a speech pathologist, you're going to get a different diagnosis. If you got sent to see a reading specialist, and it also depends on the age at which your disability is finally diagnosed. But that doesn't mean they're all mutually exclusive from each other.
It really sounds like we need to be able to have a one-stop shop when we're dealing in these areas, because if you get misdiagnosed, it's kind of like firing a rifle at a target. If you're off a little bit at the front end, you're off a lot at the back end. Dr. Robillard, in your testimony, you highlighted the approach you're taking, Austin, to better serve students with dyslexia. What are you doing in Austin that's different than approaches taken in other schools?
I think what we did in Austin was we took that science to practice seriously the last 2 years. I left the ivory tower to come back and do this because I would diagnose them as a neuropsychologist, and I would send a lovely report to the school district and nothing would happen. And so I got a little frustrated and finally decided to put my money where my mouth was and went back to try to see what I could do with it, and had wonderful backing of our Board of Trustees. That's where our process started, was getting their support and then getting our superintendent on board. And teaching, I actually would go teach our Board of Trustees. They invited me to come teach them about dyslexia, teach our superintendent about dyslexia, and from there, we were able to, we now have in every school in Austin, 129 of them, 85,000 kids in our school district. We have what's called a dyslexia designee on every campus, and that person has been taught what these ladies have been talking about all afternoon, and they understand now on that level. We've also brought in evidence-based, multisensory, Orton-Gillingham-based programs for all grade levels. We have changed the diagnostic process. We used to have classroom teachers doing this diagnosis when many kids went misdiagnosed. So sadly, I'm diagnosing students that are in high school now that never got diagnosed early, but we're diagnosing them now and we're intervening now because the neuroplasticity is there, and if you have the right tools, you can make a huge difference in their lives by getting the right diagnosis and getting those intervention materials. So we've made a concerted effort to not only get those highly trained CALTs, but to get training for all of our teachers, K through 12, in at least the understanding of dyslexia, and then at every grade level, have teachers trained who are both special education, and we address a lot of dyslexia in Texas by 504 under the ADA. So we do it in the regular education setting with teachers that are trained on the materials to deliver them in the gen ed classroom.
Mr. Chairman, would you allow me to ask a question to Ms. Wilson?
Yes, the gentleman continues to be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Wilson, you were talking about your reading program. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, is there a distance learning component for this when children are out of school so that parents can continue to be involved with their kids and continue to help them learn?
Yes, there is distance learning actually for teachers, and so the teachers can learn. In terms of teachers who are trained, they will often do distance learning because of technology. That's one of the things that technology has brought with the fast internet and the ability to do work and observations over line. So there are some teachers who are actually providing instruction to students distantly.
So they're providing the instruction to the students when the students are out of school, and is it a program where parents can participate in this program with their kids?
It's not something that we organize because we focus on teacher training, and so that would be something that the school or the teacher themselves would organize. But if that were the case and they were working, yes, the parents could be involved with that at home. Parents' work at home is just in a support role as opposed to an instructional role.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer.